from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss, and that's a winner. That's a winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizard. Go crazy. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one, folks.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Welcome to That's the Winner podcast. I am Ryan. With me, as always, is Josh. We're actually having some good news for a while. It seems like a long while that we're like going into a super positive show, excited about everything that's going on. The Cardinals are on a heater, on a hot streak. The bats are going. Everything is looking a lot better. The Cardinals are in second place. They're ahead of the Cubs. They're in playoff contention. It's like a whole new world and exciting times, all because little old offense starts hitting. The rookies. Oh, you're not on. Now you can talk.
And Matt Carpenter
and
Mark, veteran leadership's back, baby.
So Matt Carpenter has been on the team now for 16 games, and the Cardinals are 13-3 in those 16 games.
There you go.
Or you could go back to the same game that he came back. Ollie was ejected in Milwaukee when they started that streak as well in the last game of that series. But all things considered, I said the Cardinals were going to lose just one game in this last two series, the Cubs and the Reds. Technically, I was correct.
Yeah, the rain out in there.
They had a rain out, but technically I was correct. I have been to one game, I do believe, in the last 16, and that was one of the ones they lost. So forever.
You see that Shoto Imanaga got lit up by the Brewers.
I did. I enjoyed
was that today? Yesterday? After that extra rest?
Yes, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of good stuff going on. I think my camera might be on the wrong one. No, it's right. Okay. It just looks a little strange. But anyways, so Josh, I don't really have any plans to talk, except I'm excited that baseball is fun again at the moment. Like everything is a little different when we're hitting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, I saw a stat yesterday. I do believe you may have sent that. It was when the Cardinals score 3 runs or less, they are like 2-20. When they score 4 or more, they're 20-4 or whatever, like something like that stat. Well, it's obvious. If they hit, they score, they win. Very exciting.
Yeah. It's nice to be watching games that matter. This is a lot better than May 11th when we were 15-24 and 8 games out of the division.
Well, so they went on a 11-14 wins last year, something similar to that number. And does this feel different to you in general?
It feels different because of the pitching.
Yeah.
So the pitching's totally different. I don't remember entirely that, that streak we went on last year when we won, whatever it was, 10-2 or whatever it was to get back into it. I do know the offense was performing then. Arenado was hitting a bunch of home runs. Goldie was still hitting pretty well. But I don't think that the pitching, at least from our top 3 starters, has been this consistent since 2022, maybe 21. The last good year we had from Wainwright and Michaelis was better.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had starters churning out quality starts like this in a few years now. And hats off to, I don't know if hats off to Mo because it was still the cheap route, but I'll give a hats off to Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson because they've proven me wrong so far, especially in terms of, we knew they'd give us quantity. That's why they were brought in, for the quantity of innings. But the quality of innings that they've given and been putting up, quality starts, and a lot of times these quality starts aren't three runs. I mean, they've had a lot of outings where it's 2 runs or it's 1 run or it's 3 or 4 runs given up because of some errors, and it's really only 1 earned run, and then they pitch better than the defense had given them. So the starting pitching, I think, is what has me most hopeful about this. And it is nice that the offense is finally hitting the ball.
I don't want to say that I'm right. Well, I was right. I was not worried about the pitching. I knew the pitching would be considerably better. I assumed Michaelis would have a bounce back year as well, which
Not quite there yet.
he has not.
Hopefully.
That hasn't happened. I expect Matt's to be good because he had finished good and he started out well. And then obviously he's injured again, and the Cardinals still seem short a starter. And then you send out Andre Palante, who then just throws a great game. I don't. Was it a Did he end up getting 6? I don't know where he ended up on that
Yeah,
game.
he got a quality start.
Out of it. So
1 earned run. He had like 3 walks, but 4 or 5 Ks. I mean, did really that first inning. Yeah, he had 2 walks, first 2 batters, and then really settled down after that.
and okay, I don't want to be negative, but I'll go there at this moment. So we'll talk about Jordan Hicks has had a really good season, and then last check live right now, Jack Flaherty had 8 Ks and a no hitter through 6 in Boston. Do those guys perform the same way if we re-sign them? I just assume no, because a change of scenery just helps guys, right? And you knew that Jack had it in him. You knew that,
And he's very motivated,
yeah.
signing a 1-year pillow contract with a bad team. Hopefully, he's still young enough to
needed
get a good. He's on that. This Jack Flaherty season feels like last year with Cody Bellinger. Like that kind of 1-year pillow. I'm going to prove that I can bounce back and hopefully get on the market and get a bigger, longer contract
didn't.
because I'm still young. Yeah, Bellinger did it, but you could argue maybe that was Scott Boris's fault. A lot of unhappy Scott Boris clients this offseason, but and Flaherty's one of those, I believe.
Right.
I believe Flaherty's a Boris client. So
and Montgomery fired him after as well.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe you see maybe Flaherty's a guy you see sign an extension. Or maybe not extension with Detroit, but sign a longer term contract earlier on to get some of that higher AAV instead of waiting it out.
Yeah, you jump in at the beginning of the free agency instead of waiting. All right,
Flaherty's second in all of baseball, by the way, in strikeouts. He's first in the American League.
Yeah. So is he still have the no hitter right now? I know not everyone listens to this live, or watches live, but we do appreciate the people live that are with us. We are live tonight on Twitter as usual, Facebook group in the Cardinals Nation 24/7 in front of 100,000 people. So we appreciate that, Chris, for getting us on in there. We're live on Facebook in our group, in our page, and new tonight we're live on Instagram as well. Hopefully live on TikTok soon. You need to follow us on TikTok at That's a Winner Pod or at That's a Winner Podcast. We get to 1,000 followers. We can go live there as well. So go ahead. I was just stalling.
I'm just going to bring it up live here on my phone and watching him now. We've got 1 out in the 7th inning.
Still no hits.
No hitter is intact
for Jack Flaherty.
Yep, full count. So,
in Boston.
So 6 1/3 in Boston, but the pitch count is now at, let's see here, 95.
Okay, so he's
getting high.
Yeah.
And he's only in the 7th inning. So
I have a friend of mine's wife that's at the game. So Yogi, if you're watching, message in and let me know if she's still there and what's going on. Give us that play-by-play there. I just want to talk briefly about Breaking Tea. I'm going to click this. It might go over our face. It does. BreakingT.com/that'sawinnerpod. They put out a new Mason Winn t-shirt. BreakingT.com/that'sawinnerpod. Anything you buy from Breaking Tea at That's a Winner Pod gets a little cut of that. That's the new tee they put out for Mason Winn. Mason is on an 18-game hit streak for the St. Louis Cardinals. It is the second longest hit streak in Cardinals history behind Joe McEwing.
25,
25, I do believe. Is he still on the staff? No. Was that a brief?
Did they let him go?
I think so
too.
Yeah. So Joe McEwing has that. I think it's 25 is what it is. And Mason Winn is now 18, just past, I do believe, was Albert Pujols, Jordan Walker, and Stan Musial. I think we're all at 17. And then now Mason Winn is at 18. The new shirt from Breaking Tea, BreakingT.com/that'sawinnerpod to be able to get you that shirt and give a little piece of it to us for using our link. You can always use our links on our link tree. All of our social media has our link tree to get everything. People still click it. I checked the stats on it the other day. People use it all the time, which is cool. That link tree gets you to Breaking Tea links, gets you to all of our different social medias as well. So
Flaherty has now given up his first hit, by the way.
Just did?
Just did.
Oh, so that's our fault.
Still gave up Still, it has one out in the bottom of the
But that's our
seventh.
fault. So there's the
Single to left field.
There's the jinx. But he also was at 95
Yeah,
plus
95,
pitches.
Yeah, it wasn't going to get there.
But still, that's awesome for him. But the question is, the Cardinals still need pitching. Should we go negative or should we go positive?
I mean,
Should we go negative, talk pitching, or should we go positive and keep talking offense?
well, let's start off with the pitching because there's positive in that too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Sonny's been great. Kyle Gibson's been fantastic. Lance Lynn's just continue to go out there and somehow get you through 6 innings with 3 runs or less. The negative sides, I would say 2 things. One, Michaelis, I think right now it feels like it's a coin flip what you're going to get from him each game. Maybe you get 6 quality innings. It was looking bad the other day this week, and he got through 6 and gave you 3 earned run, and it was a quality start. It didn't look great, but he kept you in the game. But then we've had games where he goes 5 and gives up 4, 5, 6 runs. So he feels like a coin toss in the fourth starter position in the rotation, and we don't have a 5th starter unless you're buying into
Andre Palante.
And we've seen this front office and how they handle these situations.
Do you think he's not going to pitch on the 5th day?
I do think that after yesterday, he's earned at least one more start. And I watched some of the post game stuff. I listened to Ollie talk about what he wanted. And so apparently Palante from the beginning, when he was sent back down, they said, "What do you want to work on?" He said, "Put me as a starter. I want to work on a starter. I want to work on this other fastball I'm working on. I feel like I get better as the game goes along. I want a chance of starting." Have you heard of Jordan Hicks? Where have we heard that before?
Yeah.
Right. So they actually listened to Palante this time. They let him do that in AAA. The ERA results were there. WHIP was still really high. Control wasn't there. He was still walking a lot of guys, which again, we saw 3 walks yesterday. Granted, 2 of them were in the first inning. So he did settle down. But it did look like he got better as the game went on. Fastball was sharp, 96, 97 a few times. He's got that 2-seam, which is the new pitch he was working on, the sinker, that death ball that he's still trying to throw, which is like that kind of ultra drop changeup. He looked good. He looked really good. And that's not, 6 innings, 1 run is not nothing in Great American Small Park, as Chip Carey and many others like to call it. It's that's not nothing. That was a great outing. So we'll see. I think he's going to get another start this week. So what he pitched yesterday, off day today. That would be he'll either start against the back end of that Astros series or game 1 or 2 against the Pirates. It wouldn't surprise me if they push him to game 1 or 2 against the Pirates. That might be a better matchup for him than the Astros, who I know are struggling, but offensively they're still scary.
Still very. They still have some of the top producing.
And that's a small ballpark too on the road.
Yeah, and you got the short porch in left in Houston.
But long term, is he the answer? Probably not. A lot of us were making jokes about him starting yesterday because he just hasn't. He hasn't looked good out of the bullpen all year.
I think 100% he gets at least one more chance. Yeah. And if he pitches decently enough, they're going to ride the hot hand. I may have asked this last week on Thursday if you heard Jamo Zalok's comments. We talked about that, right? About Trevor Bauer. We talked about that.
We did, yeah.
So he is not even going to have that discussion about Trevor Bauer. People always mention it. I've seen like Ben Fred, some other guys mention Cardinals need to go get a piece, go get a pitching, someone in the pitching market, and everyone always comments Bauer. One of them responded, I can't remember which. I confused them sometimes and said they're not interested. It's not going to happen. It's not even anything they're going to look at. So who is someone that the Cardinals could look at on the trade market? Because this podcast episode is Cardinals in win now mode. Now, that is a tribute to Mason Winn and him playing very well. But also, when we're in this playoff picture, the Cardinals are 100% not selling. We know the Cardinals don't sell, and last year was a fluke in general. But if they are anywhere close, they're not going to be selling. So who is on the radar for the Cardinals in a trade market in pitching? I've seen one name, but you may have seen others.
It's probably the one name I've seen. It's the only name I've seen brought up right now is Jesus Luzardo.
Yeah, that's the one.
With the Miami Marlins. Yeah. 26 years old. He doesn't turn 27 until the end of September. That Marlins team is
he hasn't been very good, though, right?
Well, I think he's been a product of some bad luck. So I'm looking at his numbers here, and automatically you see 4.4. If you just look at, at those kind of traditional stats, you see 2 and 4 and a 4.18 ERA.
Right.
I'm like, ugh. But then I started looking at this, like, okay, 51 innings, pitched, 50 strikeouts. That's almost a 9K per 9, which is not bad. 101 ERA plus, which is a little bit above the league average. But it's the FIP, 3.63, and the WHIP, 1.14. Tells me that he's probably had some batted ball luck, probably had maybe just some bad play around him, balls that maybe that should have gotten caught, they dropped, and they weren't, weren't errors, because if they were errors, they wouldn't affect his ERA. But that 3.63 FIP, I think, is a little closer to where he'd be. If you look at his last 2 seasons.
Well, for people that don't know, what's the FIP stand for, or what's it mean? What are they judging?
FIP is fielding independent pitching. So that stat measures a pitcher's effectiveness at preventing, home run, walks, hit by pitch, the things that only a pitcher can control. So he can only control giving up a home run, a walk, a hit by pitch, or if he causes a strikeout. So essentially, it's taking out of that, metric the human error of fielding, right, essentially. And so if you look at his last 2 years, 2022, a little bit of a short season. I think he had some injuries. 3.32 ERA. Last season, 178 innings, 208 strikeouts, 3.58 ERA. I think that's closer to the guy that you're looking at. You're looking at a 10.5-ish strikeout per 9, which is great. You're looking at a guy that's going to be around a 3.5 ERA, which, that wouldn't be a 5th starter for us. It'd be
right.
It'd be above Michaelis. It'd be a 3rd or 4th starter, depending on where Lynn finishes the year with his ERA. So that's a guy I think that somebody look out, and he's a lefty, and we don't have one of those right now because Matz can't stay healthy. So
and obviously, they're going to sell. So how did the Marlins go from playoffs last year, or playoff continue? Did they make the playoffs? I think they did.
I believe they did last year.
So how'd they go in Skip's first season to then just falling off a cliff and bad fast? I think they're the worst record in the National League, or is it the Rockies now?
They're both down there.
The
Mets are falling down there too, which is poor Mets fans. I haven't followed them a whole lot. It seems like it's everything. I mean, their offense isn't hitting. Their pitchers aren't doing as great as they thought. I know they've had some injuries, right?
Miami is the worst at a 3.351 win percentage.
There you go.
So they're 20-37. The Rockies have played 2 less games. They're 20-35. Both teams are 5-5 in their last 10. So the 2 worst teams in the NL in the last 10 are the New York Mets, like you just discussed, and the Chicago Cubs, who are 2-8 in their last 10 as well.
The Marlins are last in the National League as a team in slugging percentage. They are last in the National League as a team in on-base percentage. And they are the 10th in batting average as a team. So what I'm seeing there is that there's no power. Last in OPS in the National League as a team. So the offense isn't hitting. I'm sure that the that the pitching is just as rough. As I pull up those stats. I think it's a little bit of everything for them. It just seems like between injuries, they knew they wouldn't have Sandy Alcantara, but their top starters haven't performed like they would. Yeah, team ERA 4.54. That's 14th in the NL. The Rockies are last at a 5.27 team ERA, which that's typical of the Rockies, especially with their ballpark, to have a team ERA that bad.
It's a tough place to.
So it's everything with the Marlins. So, they're not hitting and they're not pitching well.
Yeah. And so they're not hitting, they're not pitching well. So they're obviously going to be sellers of some sort. And also you worry about.
I've also read that Jazz Chisholm, potentially, he's still a younger guy, was looked at maybe as a cornerstone guy, but it would not surprise me if they kick the tires on him.
He's a second baseman.
Drafted as a second baseman. He's played center field the last couple of years. Been a little bit above average there.
But fielding, he's been above average.
I think in center field.
He's had a drop off the last couple of years in the bat, right?
Yeah, but he's had some injuries, but
he
can play
really, really good.
A couple years ago.
A couple years ago, he was really good. He was on the cover all-star of the video game, wasn't he?
He was an all-star in 2022, but he got injured the last half of that. So the issue with him is injuries. The issue is injuries. He's only played 120. The most games he's played in a season is 124 in 2021.
But he's cheap right now, I'd assume.
By a low guy, I would assume. He's only 26. I'm sure under some team control for a while.
Because there's this team in the NL that could use a real center fielder.
Yeah, and I don't know if you qualify him as that. He is
Well, I
like
mean, by
a Tommy
real-
Tommy Edmond type center
Okay.
fielder in terms of he started as a second baseman, shortstop.
What else
and
could
has
he?
moved
What else can he play?
second base and shortstop.
Second base, shortstop, and center field. So
Center field,
he
yeah.
is our version of Tommy Edmond, but Tommy Edmond is MIA on the 60
He's
day
got some
plus
speed, got
IL.
some pop. Jazz has got 8 home runs, 29 RBI, 10 stolen bases this year. He's hitting 262, but
Okay, so who would you
120 OPS plus. He's 20% above league
Oh
average
yeah,
this year.
that's
Not bad.
good.
It's
Okay,
not
so
bad.
let's say, all right, let's just put it together. We get Jazz, Chisholm, and Lazar. What is it? Lazardo?
Jesus Luzardo.
Lazardo. So we get Jazz, Chisholm, and Jesus Lazardo. What does it take to get those two guys?
Oof. I mean, some pretty big pitching prospects. I would sure at least one
Big?
for
You're talking
yeah.
about like Graceffo, but are
Yeah.
you talking like
Oh,
take
yeah.
hints?
I don't think it would. I mean, with how Luzardo's pitched this year, I don't think it would take hints. Now, Luzardo is, I know he's under control through 2026. So you'd have him for 2 seasons. You'd have him for 2.5 seasons, right? It's kind of like Juan Soto a few years ago when the Padres traded for him. You'd have him for 2 full years after this year and the rest of this season. So there is some control there. I mean, I'm sure they're going to ask high on him, but he hasn't been as good as he's been in years past this year. Jazz, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, with how much control they still have over him, he's still in arbitration. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Like he's not going to be a free agent until 2027. I mean, he's got some arb years still, so he's probably going to be wound up being a guy that they hold on to.
What's
I would
that
imagine.
website that does the
Contract stuff?
yeah, what is
Spotrac.
No, not the contracts. The one that does the one that we hate and love at the same time, that does the breakdown of trades.
Yes, whether they match up or not.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called.
Sorry,
It's
I got, like,
escaping me at the moment.
I have multiple computers and screens and keyboards. I was gonna pull that one up. But
But yeah, those two. I mean, Luzardo's the only one I'm seeing right now that could be, a pitching target at the trade deadline. I'm sure there's others right now that I'm just not. We're just not hearing about yet. Like I've heard a lot about the Toronto Blue Jays. They've been really bad compared to what they were hoping their expectations were going to be. So maybe you see some of their. I mean, I've read stuff, some reports by Rosenthal and others saying that they might kick the tires on Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. I mean, some of their what was supposed to be just a few years ago, some of their cornerstone pieces. So you got a few teams. Of course, the A's, they're going to be selling. They've got that fireball lights out closer. But that guy's really young. Mason Miller, I don't know if they'll be trading him or not. That's a reliever spot. So I haven't seen a whole lot of other stuff yet on the starting pitching trading market, but I'd imagine that that's going to kick up really fast these next few weeks as we get into June and get closer to the trade deadline and the All-Star break.
so the one I was thinking of is baseballtradevalues.com.
That's the one.
That does the different ones, but Chris also comments MLB Trade Analyzer is the one that he likes. This is the one I was thinking of, is this one, but for whatever reason, it's not letting me click every one that I want. Select, like, it's not letting me select all the teams, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But I was going to try and, like, it's only letting me click the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, which I don't understand why. So I'll have to play with that at a different time. But so I was going to see if we had some ability to see what it would cost to get those two guys or even one of those guys in a contract value, like we talk about ARB years. That's what that system does decently well. I know a lot of people hate that system as well, but it still gives you numbers, values, because it way overvalues that system, way overvalues like Brendan Donovan, Dylan Carlson, because of how like inexpensive he is in years of ARB. There's a lot of other guys that it overvalued that it said that you could get a lot of guys. Okay, so let's go back. So we were talking pitching, obviously, the trade possibilities there. Let's talk a little Mason Winn and the offense. Nolan Gorman is on a heater. Mason Winn is on a heater. Who else?
Alec Burleson's cooled off a little
But
bit.
he's still
last like 8 to 10 at bats, but he's been hitting the ball hard.
He in the last was it the side by side comparing
Yeah, yes, Cody Bellinger.
Cody
I've
Bellinger
got that
side
somewhere.
by side of Alec Burleson. And it's just Alec Burleson's having a year, even though it may not, he's not playing every single day, obviously, but he's having a better year than every single Chicago Cup.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, that's pretty much.
Burleson, this was a few days ago. He's at a 1.0 WAR. Cody Bellinger's at 0.6. Burleson's played 45 games. Bellinger's played 40. You've got Burley's got more hits. He's 2 home runs behind Bellinger. He's got 5. Bellinger's got 7. Bellinger leads in RBI at 23. Burleson's at 17. But then after that, it's like,
But also, he's played way more games, right? It's like,
yeah. Well, Burleson's only played 5. Well, Burleson's played 5 more games than Bellinger, but Bellinger's got 26 more plate appearances.
Yeah, because he's playing.
Yeah. But Burleson leads in stolen bases, batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS plus.
Yeah, and Nolan Gorman since May 10th. This is from at K4 Maka, MAKA, at K4 Maka. Nolan Gorman since May 10th has a slash line of 340, 436, 787, and a 1.224 OPS. 6 home runs, 3 doubles. In his season, WRC plus went from 67, which we know is not good. The league average, I do believe, is 100.
Yeah.
To now his WRC plus is 120.
Nice.
In what is today's date? In 18 days. I mean, that's the 18 game.
That's the tear. That's the hot streak we were looking for.
Because we've talked about it, and I've talked about it for 2 years. Like Nolan Gorman can carry the team for a month. Paul Goldschmidt can carry a team for a month. Nolan Arenado can carry the team for a month. Like the guys are streaky. The time is right now for Nolan Gorman. And Mason Winn has just said the time is now for Mason Winn, meaning the season right now is all time for Mason Winn. Mason Winn has been like the biggest bright spot and broken all my expectations, minus a little more pop, but still, if he ends up with, I don't know, 8 home runs and doing what he's done this year, playing Gold Glove defense and
hitting for average.
Yeah, I don't think you can ask for any more.
He had some funky stolen base attempts the other day. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I don't think that I did, but I think that this team is desperately missing Jose Oquendo all the time. Yeah. Like some of these past teams that obviously had Jose Oquendo around all the time, 24/7. And obviously Jose is getting a little older. His knees and body is why he supposedly isn't around all the time. But you can just tell that Mason would benefit from him being around. Obviously, he and Ozzie Smith has been working a lot as well, but working together. But like, yes, like Jose Oquendo would help in many, many different ways, which I think he does mostly down in spring still. But
yeah, but Mason's been doing great. He's hitting the ball the other way. He's going with pitches. He's getting some clutch RBIs. I'm looking here among all shortstop. He is 3rd in batting average at 308. Bobby Witt's at 309. So Winn's 2nd in the National League among shortstop behind Mookie Betts, who's at 332. Nobody's catching him. Winn is also 3rd among all shortstop so far this season in on base percentage. And the only thing he's not doing better than all the other shortstop is slugging. But he's still top 10 among shortstop in baseball in that.
I also saw today he's leading either the NL or MLB in defensive run saves at +6.
Yeah.
And Nolan Arenado is last in the NL with the negative number.
Well, that's not great.
Yeah, not great. Yeah, sorry, I threw negative in there. We're talking positive Mason Winn things, and then the negative. Yeah, he's going the opposite direction of Mason Winn at the time.
Hopefully his bat gets going. He had a nice swing the other day, and then he got 2 days off. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, you want to go there? All right, let's go there then. So Nolan Arenado pulls the ball for the first time in eternity, it feels like. Yeah. He hits a home run out of Great American Small Park, which I said he would do. It came in a more I wouldn't say clutch. It came in a more
Gave us the
opportune-
lead.
Yes, gave us the lead.
At least it was an important.
It was an important hit.
home run.
I said he would get a home run in Cincinnati, and I said it would be worthless, but it was not. But the question is, then the next day he's immediately given a day off with
Which was apparently I did see was a scheduled. It was already
scheduled day off.
pre-scheduled weeks ago.
Pre-scheduled day off with an off day today.
You got to adjust.
Do
Given the
you-
situation that he's in.
Do you say, all right, Mr. Nolan, you just finally pulled the ball. You sure you don't want to give it a go tomorrow?
I honestly don't think Ollie asked him. Because it seems like the way Ollie's done, and they've come up with this game plan. I think he and Descalso, probably along with Mozeliak, but more so he and Descalso, have already factored in and worked in these pre-scheduled off days, and have just set a hard line over following them. Because we've seen it with Winn early on. It's just crazy amount of off days for him.
Like, where's that?
And he's finally stopped doing it. He didn't do it yesterday, but if we
Yeah.
had won the first 2 games of that series, wouldn't surprise me if he had sat Winn yesterday.
And I question like where it's coming from. Like it makes me like, is that a part of his contract? Like, is that a part of Brandon
I don't
Crawford's
think we saw
contract?
that the last 2 years with him, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just so strange to me. Like, I would personally, I don't know, if I'm on like a heater, you're not taking me out until it stops.
Yeah.
Like if like Mason Winn on an 18-game hit streak, I'm in the lineup every single day until that ends. And it's just my confidence has never been better. My confidence has never been higher. Let me ride. And I feel like Nolan Arenado's been searching and searching and searching. He finally pulls the ball and he gets it out of the park. Let him ride.
Yeah. I wonder if he would have asked him, if Nolan would have said, "Hey, like I want to get back in there." Who knows?
I was gonna say, like, if it was a younger player, then you would be doing it. But then a younger player, in theory, just wouldn't be given a scheduled off day.
Right, not typically.
Yeah.
But it shows how much they value Winn, because there really is no depth behind him, and Brandon Crawford's been useless. So I mean,
Jazz Chisholm cut Brandon Crawford.
there you go. Or hopefully you get Tommy Edman back soon, and
I
don't know where he's going to play.
I did see what center.
Or if New Bar's hurt, he'll be in the outfield.
Ciani and Victor Scott have been very good defensively for the St. Louis Cardinals, but both have been.
Ciani had a good week there with the bat, but
He
it's
did a
fallen
week.
off again.
He had a good week, and that was about it. But I did see where Tommy Edman has been throwing finally a little bit. There's video of him before a game throwing the ball around a little bit, and he's I think he has hit off a tee a couple times, but nothing much. Like, it's very minimal, which still leads you to believe he is a long way from a return.
Oh yeah, definitely well past All-Star break, I would imagine. For
Yeah,
sure.
because he's gonna have to go and.
He's still got to hit. What is it? Right-handed, left-handed? He hasn't hit yet.
I don't know which side it was that he hadn't hit, but you still have to go. You still have to do that, obviously. But then you have to go start off at AA or something and get a bunch of reps. Then go to AAA and get a bunch of reps, and then feel comfortable enough that he's going to be able to catch up and then be able to make it to the majors. Like, he's a long way off. I mean, if he hasn't even swung from one side, at least another month, you would think.
Yeah.
From making the big club.
Oh yeah, and getting enough rehab.
Right.
starts to
Enough
get in there.
rehab. Like,
And
at
who
least a
knows
month.
how it shakes out by then?
Because
right?
we're now in June, effectively,
Pretty
pretty
much.
much. We're going to be
Starting
in June.
Saturday.
So you're talking about, All-Star break is probably in, first week, second week of July. It's after All-Star break at this point to even have a glimpse of Tommy Edman. I didn't notice on the road, but I did notice at home that Wilson Contreras is is in the dugout. I don't know if he's traveling with the team on the road.
Last I heard with him, he was hopeful to come back earlier than what they thought. Now,
That's
we'll
good.
see. We'll see if that happens. But
Avon has been serviceable. And behind the plate, the nut shot was
that
brutal.
was rough. Yeah.
And I fully expected him not to play the next game, which is the first game in Cincinnati. I thought for sure he was not going to play. I expected a terrible, terrible lineup. It wasn't great, but they still had Avon in as a DH. He's like, I'll play tomorrow, but I am not getting behind the plate and getting hit in the nuts again.
Don't blame me. He's hit pretty well. Hasn't thrown anybody out yet, I don't think, which is, it's tough, but also with the way the bases are now, and the pickoff moves and everything. I wonder if that's part of the factor of it. Did they?
Well, if that's the case, then why aren't we stealing on every play, or
seriously, yeah.
or why are we getting thrown out?
That's a
If
question
that's
too.
the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like if that's the case, then why are the Cardinals not having the same luck that the other teams are?
All-Star break, by the way, starts July 15th.
Okay, so like
15th to the 18th.
which again, that means Tommy's back after All-Star break. We were talking about
We
August,
hope maybe
September,
August.
August. Like you're talking about
Yeah.
2 months. Like, yeah, it'd be great if he comes in and gets hot.
And then what if, who knows where Newt Barr's at by then? Is he hurt again, or is Donovan hurt, or is Walker finally back up, hitting some home runs? Is, Victor Scott playing a role into center field again because Siani's fallen off and Dylan Carlson has literally shown us nothing, which.
All right, I have Jack Flaherty's final line, by the way.
Did you get through 7?
He did not. He did 6.2, so 6 2/3, 1 hit, 1 walk, 0 earned runs, and 9 Ks in Boston for Jack Flaherty. He had a no into the 7th, and obviously he did not get out of the 7th, so that's where he ended up there. So Jack had a great night.
Lowers his ERA to 3.46. He had 9 more Ks tonight.
Yeah, and
that might push him.
I was going to ask, does that make him the league leader in Ks?
That might. Tyler Glasnow, he's at. This is showing 90. Glasnow last checked was at 95, but he's the most strikeouts in the American League. Yeah, and a 3.46 ERA now, 1.0 WHIP. He's been fantastic, and he's 1-4 on the Detroit Tigers. So yeah, I mean. The offense, hopefully it continues. We've hit a home run now in 14, 15 straight games, at least 1 home run as a team.
And we've had an error in.
That finally stopped yesterday,
okay,
I think.
Okay.
I believe so. I believe we played a clean defensive game yesterday.
Finally.
You want to preview these next 6?
Because the team is better defensively.
It's a miracle, honestly. We went 13-3 in these
Cardinals
last
had
16
an error
with some of these.
Yesterday, Wednesday. There was
So
an error. There was an error Wednesday.
I thought there was a game in there where it stopped.
There we go. Tuesday. No errors on Tuesday in the 7-1 win.
But prior to that, it was like 10 or 11.
I think it was 11. Yeah, before that.
Yeah.
11. And the defense is much improved from last year. And to have 11 straight games with an error is kind of puzzling.
And to win 8 or 9 of those.
Right. And here's I knew the excuse of the Cardinals getting in at 4 a.m. to Cincinnati was that's what supposedly they got into the hotel was
right.
4 a.m. on Monday morning. Look, I don't know about all y'all, but at 22, 23, 24 years old, there wasn't a lot of sleep that was occurring anyways. So, and these guys are they're flying private on luxury planes.
Get some sleep.
They don't have to go through the airport. Like it's different if you're going through the airport, going through all the security, getting on a crappy plane. No, these guys are flying luxury plane, private jets. They are well taken care of. I stayed up late that night as well and watched them play in St. Louis. And then I drove 2 hours to the game as well. So, and I got there plenty of time early as well. And I wasn't tired at all. And I'm older than most of the team.
Good chunk of the team.
Yeah. So like, I think that's just a cop out to say like Arenado's error, his bad play that it didn't call an error in between the gap between him and Winn, and then Goldie's error is because they got in at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a cop out easily.
That's what it felt like. But at least they bounced back and they won the next 2 games.
Yes.
So I mean that's going to be the big thing. If we're not going to have a 7-8 plus win streak, then you've got to do what they just did over these last 16. And you've got to go, 8-2 or 9-3 or whatever it is, and have the losing not turn into streaks. And if you're 2-3 wins for every 1 loss, like great, let's just keep doing that the whole year, and we'll be in pretty good position.
And by the way, that game in Cincinnati on Monday on Memorial Day holiday game, 4 p.m. start Eastern time. beautiful, perfect weather, not hot. It was like 75 degrees, wind blowing, so comfortable. There were 24,000 people at that game. I got seats 10, 15 rows behind the Cardinals dugout for $32 each. And
Ooh.
24,000 people on a holiday game against, I would say, their biggest rival. Not our biggest rival, but probably the Reds' biggest rival, right? Is us, I would say.
And that was the game we lost, right?
That was the game we lost.
So it was a 5th win in a row too for the
Yes,
Reds. So they were on a bit of a win streak.
They were on a win streak.
But they're also 9 games out in their last.
But 24,000 people on a beautiful holiday day, and that's what they get to the ballpark. Now, I'm not judging because the Cardinals' attendance has been. It's just that's a game that gets filled.
Yeah. Maybe Reds fans, I mean, prior to that 5-game winning streak, they had lost like 7, 8, 9 in a row. It was pretty bad. They really fell down. And
I don't know.
Last now 9 out of the.
I don't know what it is, but always going to Cincinnati always feels like a minor league game. I don't know what it is, like in general.
It's probably the low attendance kind of makes it.
Is
feel
that what?
way.
Like it's never loud. Like it's never a loud atmosphere.
The last time those atmospheres were loud and intense that I remember going was the Joey Votto, who was the second baseman they had that got into it with the
Phillips.
Brandon Phillips. It was, it was those seasons when they were winning the NL Central a few years, and
it's always tons of Cardinals.
Jay Bruce. Yeah. But I mean, the stadium I remember going to those games was more filled.
So I remember going to a game. I can't tell you what year it was. David Weathers was pitching. Pujols came up and hit a grand slam to take the lead in the 9th inning, like ripped their heart outs. But it's half the park is chanting "Let's go Cardinals," and it's loud because it's a rivalry, and both teams were good at that time, obviously. But it's always been a very, very Cardinal heavy, like compared to other locations. Like Cardinals fans travel well in general, obviously, but like to Cincinnati, it's easier for some fans to get to there than it is St. Louis, and so they'll take that cheap ticket and that easy. Like it's much easier to get it's much easier to get an autograph in Cincinnati than it is to get one in St. Louis when you're trying to get to the Cardinals. So like it's an easier, cheaper, shorter day in general to go to Cincinnati. So yeah, it's just I don't know. I just thought it was like it's always like going to a minor league game. I also got, if you're looking for reasons to go to the Reds game, $25, all you can eat. Chips, popcorn, peanuts, soda, and you got 5 hot dogs. 5 hot dogs, and all you can
eat. Per ticket?
$25 cost me. It was a $25 all you can eat thing.
Nice.
Popcorn, peanuts, chips, soda, and then 5 hot dogs. So all you can eat of the other things, 5 hot dogs.
Nice.
I fed me, my wife, and child on 5 hot dogs and chips and peanuts, and I was the only one that had a soda. My wife had 3 beers. So
there you go.
Like we fed. I mean, you can't go to a ballpark and spend $25 on food. So there you go. So like, I think that's cool for them to do that. And that's like was the highlight of the day. Was
there you go.
At the very first inning, Goldie pops off for another home run. That was exciting. I thought the game was going to be a slaughter of just tons of runs. I mean, the wind was blowing 20 miles an hour straight out. So I thought, oh man, it's going to be a long day for everyone. But then the wind kind of settled down. Lance Lynn settled in. Arenado and Goldie got airs, and that was the end of the game. All right, let's move on.
There you go.
Let's talk Phillies.
Yeah, let's preview this. So I'm looking at some numbers here. Do you want to hear in this 3-game series? You want to hear the win probability? So Fangraphs will do. I mean, they've got win probabilities for you for the rest of the season based off of matchups as far out as they can see them right now. Those go till June 19th. But we've got Miles Michaelis versus Aaron Nola tomorrow night.
Aaron Nola. Everyone remembers that name from the offseason, hearing it a few hundred times.
Fangraphs has us at a 40% chance to win that matchup. And I'm assuming that has more to do with Miles Michaelis being on the mound probably than anything. And Aaron Nola is 6-2 with a 3.04 ERA this year.
It's fine.
He's pretty solid.
Solid, yeah.
Been really solid for them. So that's probably why we're at a 40% chance of winning that game. We're at a 48% chance of winning game 2.
Is that Gray?
Sonny Gray versus Ranger Suarez. It still leans a little bit more Phillies because of Ranger Suarez. You want to hear his stats for the season? He's 9-1 with a 1.75 ERA.
That's their starter for the game. He started 10+ games and he's 9-1.
He's leading baseball.
Why
in
are we
ERA.
at 48%? Why is it a 52%?
I think the only reason they're still giving us a shot is because Sonny's on the mound, opposite of him. So it's
holy smokes,
48% chance.
Where did he come from?
They've had him for a few years.
Smokes.
This is kind of one of those like out of nowhere. He's been really good as a starter years. He's been around for a little bit. As I pull up Baseball Reference here, he's 28. He's still a little bit younger, but he's drafted by and been with the Phillies his whole career. But last year, 4-6 with a 4.18 ERA, 125 innings. He's never pitched more than 155 innings in the majors.
So he's obviously having a year. He's having a first half.
He leads baseball in ERA. And wins right now.
He's got to be. I was going to say, has to be leading in wins.
And wins right now. So that's going to be a really tough.
He's going for his 10th win of the season. And what's our highest guy at?
I believe Sonny, right? Sonny's at 7-2.
Okay. Sonny's having a great year
with a 2.60 ERA. Yeah,
he's had a couple games. Has a couple games and then he also obviously he's 7-2 and he missed the first 2 weeks of the year.
Yes. Yeah. So he's been huge.
Okay.
Game 3 is Lynn versus.
Let's stop for a second. Can we talk about Sonny Gray?
Removing himself from
twice. 2 games in a row, he has removed himself. Panic, cause for concern, no big deal.
I am not panicked. I just don't love it. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Because you want that bulldog.
Yeah.
You want that bulldog that says, "Don't you dare come get that ball out of my hand."
Which is what Lance
Chris
Lynn
Carpenter,
is doing.
Lance
you
Lynn,
want that mentality.
Adam Wainwright at times would be like, "Don't you dare even come walk out here." And then you have Sonny Gray going, "All right, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm done." Now, look, the second game, it was a rain delay, like
30. Well, and then it was that the one that was a 33 pitch inning because of 2 win errors?
No, I think that was the previous time, but I could be mixing them up. But I do believe I think that was the first time he called for help. But like the second one was definitely like the 2-3 hour rain delay before it got started. So his prep obviously started 2 or 3 hours before that. Yeah. Then it stopped, and then it kept going, and then he pitched 75 pitches, was cruising.
Yeah, no hitter.
No hit, like
until an error.
He was,
and then he gave up a home run.
Cruising, and then he waved. All right, I'm done. 75 pitches in, I do believe was the number.
That one even still, I'm like,
I was thinking, man, he can go like 8 today.
And that was against the Cubs.
Yeah, I was thinking he can go 8 innings tonight, and he waved himself done at 75 pitches in 6 innings, I do believe. I was like, So
it was odd. That was odd. And then
now I do okay. I also look at it as this part. Is it that Ali just has no idea what's happening? Like the manager should be kind of in tune with that. The catcher obviously has changed multiple times for him because Wilson's hurt. You have Ivan. You have the other guy's name that I can never say properly. You have different catchers that are going out there. So is it that the catcher's not always the same guy, so he's not completely in tune with Sonny? Is it that Ali is not in tune with his own player and doesn't know what he needs from him? Or is Sonny just knows his body better than anyone else and says, I've maxed out?
Yeah.
The third one is what concerns me the most. If it's on Sonny just going, yeah, it's my body. I've exerted too much. I'm done. I think I would prefer the answer to be Ali is inept. I think is what I would prefer the answer to be.
For your ace. But it feels like it's the latter of what you said. It does feel like it's like, I know my body. And some of that maybe, I don't know. He had the hammy stuff, that is what got him on the IL to start the year. The way he's been pitching doesn't seem like that's bothering him at all.
Yeah.
The
It's
last
like a
one,
fatigue thing that
yeah.
maybe he worries his body breaks down in fatigue.
Either that or, I mean, he did talk post game about the last one he took himself out of, which was the back-to-back Winn errors. He had to throw 32, 33 pitches in the inning
Like a
and
lot of
motion
high
out.
leverage
Yeah,
pitches.
and he said I could feel that I was losing feeling for, like, my breaking ball, my fastball was getting straight, and basically was like, which even still, I'm like, I don't know, man.
But see, that's why I think
like,
like the
you
catcher would
wa
notice that, right? Like
yeah,
in
but
theory.
right, and then at least it wouldn't look as bad that Sonny had a
Right.
motion for Ollie to come out.
Right.
But even that mentality, I'm just like, I don't know. You can't get it together for one more out
But then you're mad at Ollie because he lets him go one more as well.
if
You know
something
what I mean?
bad
If
happens,
something
I
bad happens,
guess.
you
Yeah,
like
but
you because should Ollie and or the catcher who's catching that day see that miss, okay, his breaking ball is losing its stuff. His fastball is going down a little bit, and no one else is noticing except Sonny Gray. That's when I think, okay, Ollie is missing. The pitching coach is missing. They're not seeing what he's feeling.
yeah.
Then that is on the coaching staff and the catchers. If it's just Sonny Gray going, yeah, that I'm good. That is what kind of makes me go, ugh. Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
And it I mean, based on the post game interview I watched, it seemed like it was that he just said like I was basically like I
I hit
was
a
done.
wall.
I 33 plus pitches, they were all high leverage. I was getting gassed and it essentially kind of said like, it was time to bring in a guy that was fresh that could get. And credit to Jojo Romero. I mean, it was the right move. He
Right.
came in, he got
He
the
came.
out, but
It didn't matter. It didn't
right,
matter.
right.
But so if he
it's
gives up
just
a
that
home
I
run on the
think it's
next
the
play,
mentality. It's the
yeah,
mentality
it's
that
the
leaves a sour
bulldog.
taste in my mouth. I'm
It's
like,
the ace.
yeah. And you needed one more out.
Yeah.
Like, even if you felt that, you really don't think, I don't know,
But
at least one more
but I
batter you could.
respect it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't say something and his next pitch is in the seats, you're going, dang, he couldn't get through one more. But then he
Yeah.
pulled, like, you know what I mean? It's a if thing.
Yeah.
And I just feel like
But I understood that
Ollie
one
doesn't
more
understand his
because the
guy.
30 plus pitches in one inning.
Yeah.
It was the one before that against the cut, especially with it being a division rival.
Yes.
You're only at 75 pitches. I'm like, what? Like, what do we? Especially with how much we've already used
The
Romero
bullpen,
and Helsley
right.
and Kittredge and those
Because the
guys.
bullpen has been unbelievable.
They've been, yeah, even the guys that got brought up to kind of just be mop up innings.
Right.
Lay, who's some of the others? I can't even think of them all off the top of my head. John King. They've been great. They've even been good. So Ryan Fernandez, he's been good. So I mean, I think I don't know. It just rubs me wrong a little bit. I can't. I mean, I say I can't see. He never did. You never saw Chris Carpenter do this.
No.
Never saw Adam Wainwright do that. I mean, never saw Lance Lynn do that. I don't remember ever seeing Kyle Loesch or like. I mean, you could go back.
I've never seen any pitcher wave
No.
that's not an injury. Like I've tried to think about it.
That's what it is.
Like
yeah.
I've never seen a starting pitcher go, come get me.
Yeah.
Never.
I've got it. I'm done.
Unless they're injured. And that's our first thought when we see it. We text each other, oh crap.
Great. Yeah. Is it the hammy again? Yeah. What happened?
I hope they say something in the post game. Oh, nope. He said he was done.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was eating a protein bar. Like, yeah, I
didn't have anything left.
It was good.
So again, it just pushes me back to like, is Ollie that far off base with his guys?
Maybe they have an understanding. He's told Sonny, I trust you.
Because
And
Sonny
you tell
came
me
in,
when you're ready. Like,
but Sonny came into spring training and everyone said, this dude takes control. He's the boss.
he's got his exact game plan that
he's
he
got
wants.
a game plan. This is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it. And he's like a bulldog in taking over of the plan. So then this to me is the complete opposite mentality whenever you think about it as, okay, now he's just done with 75 pitches because, I don't know, maybe we're also spoiled. I don't know if spoiled is the right word. Maybe we also go back to older baseball. Like we're in a new era that guys don't pitch 120 pitches anymore. Because if you're at 75 pitches and you're cruising, you're going to let them kind of go usually. Like previously in 10 years ago, you're going to let a guy just go because he's eating up and he's just cruising. But now it's like 98, 99 pitches. He's on his last batter. Then you have him at 75 pitches, and he's waving that he's done. I just expected him to eat more innings, throw more pitches. Obviously, he's been very, very good, and he's 7-2, and he's doing exactly what people expected of him, except for the innings part that to do more. So
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's move on to game 3. Sonny's going in game 2 against a guy that's 9-1,
leading the league. Yeah, leading the league,
leading the
wins
league
and
ERA and wins. And so then that's who Sonny gets to go against. And in game 3, we have Lance Lynn and
Taiwan Walker.
Taiwan
Walker's 3-1.
Was he at the Mets?
He was. I
Okay.
believe he was drafted by them.
Yeah.
3-1, 5.51 ERA.
Okay, so that's our winner game.
But for some reason, Fangraphs has us only at a 48.5% chance to win that.
They don't
one.
like
I'm
Lance Lynn, I would assume, but Lance Lynn
yeah,
has
maybe.
just been
But he gives up a lot. I mean, he's still.
well. So the obviously on Monday, Cardinals get a home run in the first inning with Paul Goldschmidt. And my father-in-law, who grew up in Ohio, is a Reds fan. He was with us, and I told him, I said, "Don't worry, Lance Lynn will give up a home run. Like I guarantee that it might be a solo shot, but he will give up a home run." That same inning, Lance Lynn gives up a home run to Calderana Hero guy in the bottom of the first inning. Calder, here, whatever it was. And so, like, he's going to give up a home run. You hope it's a solo home run, and you hope it's little to no damage, and he moves on and he settles in. So okay, so today is Thursday, right? So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the Philly series. You wanna give a guesstimation on that series for yourself?
Lynn, by the way, while we're on the topic of home runs, is 22nd in the National League in home runs given up.
Like in a good way.
Yeah. Well, he's only given up 7 so far, which is the same amount as Tyler Glasnow.
Okay. I
So how about that?
apologize.
I do
Lance
too.
Lynn.
Given up far less than I thought he would have so far this year because he gave up 44
He gave up
last
the league
season.
leading last season.
He's usually between like 18 to 20-ish home runs a year.
Well, yeah, but we're not even halfway through and he's at 7. So
yeah. So it could still.
you're still in that range.
Yeah,
He's still going to get
He's
there.
in his career range, which is fine compared to 44 last year.
Yes. Yeah, because that means he would be at like 15-ish already.
Yeah.
Is where we'd be. Okay, so what will the Cardinals do in Philly?
Oh man, I don't know. This Phillies team is so dang good.
What did they do, Philly in St. Louis a month ago? Phillies came to St. Louis.
Have we played them already?
Didn't they? Didn't they come to St. Louis?
Let's see here. I'm looking at the schedule. They did.
Yeah.
They did. We went.
I want to say
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Okay. So we won and 2.
So we won the Sonny Gray versus Zach Wheeler matchup. We won that game 3-0. They beat us game 1, Miles Michaelis versus Spencer Turnbull. We lost.
So we're seeing all new
5-3.
pitchers.
And we lost the Lance Lynn versus Aaron Nolan game in that one 4-3.
Okay. So
we went 1 and 2 back in April.
And so the only repeat pitcher
And
we'll
we're
see
in
is
Philly
Nola.
this time.
And we're in Philly.
It's a tough place to play, but we have hit pretty well there the last few years.
And I do believe Philly has the best record in baseball.
They do. They've
been
doing
on
everything. And that offense.
I think that series a month ago, approximately, whenever that date was, is what then got them on their hot streak. To be honest.
they're doing. I mean, they're doing everything. I don't know much about their bullpen or who's in it, but the starting pitching has been fantastic, and the offense is just there's no breathing room in that offense with all those guys that are hitting right now.
So what's your number?
I hope we can go 1 and 2.
You hope you're worried about a sweep?
I'm a little worried in Philly.
I feel like I'm not worried about a sweep right now.
Now we do get to we don't have to deal with Zach Wheeler, which is nice.
Which we beat him. We
did beat him last, but he still pitched great against us in that game. So he usually pitches great against us. Taiwan Walker, I don't know. I mean, that's a toss up. I do think we should win it with Lynn.
I'm going positive. I'm going 2 out of 3.
You can go 2 or 3
because I think we're going to steal the first one because the Cardinals are hot, and get the third one.
Phillies have lost a few games these last.
The Cardinals play well the first game of the series. That has been proven. That is what they've done. Before this win streak, I could tell you the number was they had won 11 straight series openers, or 11 series openers, and they had won 10 other games besides the series openers. The series openers is what the Cardinals do well. So I'm going to say the Cardinals win the first game of the series, and then that's going to be a stealing of that game. I don't know. It's going to be maybe a low scoring game. We get lucky, but then the third game, Taiwan Walker game, Cardinals are going to win that one. So I'm going to go positive Pete here and go 2-1 in Philly.
All right.
So what do you have? What are you saying?
I'm still probably going 1-2.
But you said
But
you were worried about a sweep.
But then I keep my expectations low. Then I can be pleasantly surprised if we do more than that. I don't know if we want to get too far ahead, but the Houston series right after, it's a really interesting one. Fangraphs has us really low in these games against Houston.
Well, I was going to see the next day off. Our next day off is not for a while.
June's going to be brutal. June's going to be brutal.
Our next day off is June 10th.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go 3 in Philly
and 3 in Houston.
1, 2, 3 in Houston, and then at home in Colorado, which I'll be at for 4. I'll be at one of those. Podcaster Day is that weekend. It is Larry Walker bobblehead against the Rockies.
Oh, dear. That's a little kind of
because Rockies, Cardinals. So it's a Larry Walker bobblehead that weekend. I think is the Saturday game. So we have 4, 3, and 3. So the Astros,
and then you got 3. The Pirates are in town as well for the last bit of that 7-game homestand.
Yeah, but we have an off day in between Monday the 10th.
Yes.
And you're gone then?
I'll be in Scotland, man, from June 8th till about the 24th.
So this is Josh's last podcast.
Second year of Blogger Day again.
Yeah.
Podcast Blogger Day, which is a bummer.
So Josh will not be on for a while.
Yeah, it'll be a good 3 weeks.
Yeah. So I'll have to find some help if anyone would like to help me because I don't want to spoil anything. But there hopefully should be a new sponsor starting by the next time we have a new another podcast. So I'm really going to need some help. Because we're going to have to keep producing good quality stuff so that they can get their money's worth.
Just have to hop on my computer.
You said that last year. Now,
yeah, it didn't happen.
But
12 a.m., 1 a.m.
But they were also terrible.
So there's no reason to.
It was no reason to jump on. So maybe if they're on a heater still, then you may want to get back on.
I'll figure out a way to.
But the Cardinals, Astros, and Rockies series, I feel like the Cardinals should do really well in.
Well, this is what I was saying
3 of 4
here.
of the Rockies, 2 out of 3 against the Astros.
For some reason, this Astros series, Fangraphs, these 3,
they probably play better at home. I assume the Astros do.
I think that's part of it. And maybe it's the matchups, but they've got us game 1 against the Astros, 40.7% chance to win. Game 2, 41.5% chance to win.
It's got to be a home versus away split.
One is their pitchers too. We've got Palante and Michaelis slated right now.
Palante's on there though. That means the Cardinals gave them that info. Like the Cardinals, they don't just put that out there unless there's a.
They're basing this out of the rotation over the next 19 days as it's slated. So it could change.
It could, but
if
usually,
Palante gets pushed, because we did have the off day today, so maybe they tweak the rotation. I don't know.
But usually, what happens, like whenever they didn't know when Palante was coming up or who was going to pitch, it was TBD for the next day. They didn't know who was pitching, so they're getting that info from the Cardinals at some point of who they have slated to play in those games.
Yeah. Game 1 is Gibson versus Verlander. That's the lowest percentage.
Is he having a good year?
He started off injured, but yeah, he's 3-2 with a 3.26 ERA.
I still think the Cardinals are going to take 2 or 3 in Houston. So I'll just lay it out there. You're not going to
remember the last time we.
You're not going to be there. I don't know either, to be honest. But
forever.
You're not going to be around to check me anyway. So here, 2 to 3 over Philadelphia, 2 to 3 over Houston. So that's 4-2. And then 3 out of 4 against the Rockies.
I hope at least.
So
our odds are great on those games.
So 3
to win,
5, 7, and 3 in the next 10. If the St. Louis Cardinals go 7-3 in the next 10, and we are already on a,
and then leading up to the break, you've got Pittsburgh, Chicago, Miami.
Oh yeah. So, but what's the streak now? 13.
They're 13-3. 13-3 since that last awful loss against the Brewers.
So
that all they got ejected.
If they go if they're 13-3 now and they go 7 in the next 10, that would be 20-6 in the last 26.
That's not too shabby.
That is a great month because that's 30 days.
And then you still got potentially a pretty favorable schedule leading up.
Miami and the Cubs, who are going backwards. Yeah. All right, so this is what I'm going to say.
He actually got 4, I think, against the Cubs.
All right, here it
there's
is.
a doubleheader in
This is
there.
what I'm going to say. If that happens, if the Cardinals go 7-10 in the next 10, we will give away
7-3, in the next 10.
7-3 in the next 10. We will give away a City Connect jersey.
Ooh.
This right here. Josh has one on. I have.
Oh
one.
no, I've just got
Oh,
it.
you have regular. Oh, sorry.
I've got the well, these are discontinued.
Those
now.
are just that's old school.
So this is vintage.
That's old
now.
school, vintage. We will give away if the Cardinals go 7-10. We will give away a City Connect jersey, but you have to participate. Obviously.
Yeah.
I will make a tweet. We'll make a tweet. We'll make a retweet, follow. There's also, I'm just going to give this tidbit to all the people that are listening right now. There's about 156 people on Twitter right now alone. There's another few thousand watching on Facebook right now. This is just for you. This is a tidbit. I'm not putting this anywhere else. I have a tweet out that teases that we're possibly something in the works. There's a tweet from a couple days ago. You want to interact with that tweet. That's my tidbit. If there's a tweet that says we have some, hopefully working on some good news, interact with that tweet. And then that will help you be able to win things that are associated with that tweet and help you get a City Connect jersey if the Cardinals go 7-3 in the next 10.
There you go. And we're gonna pin that tweet.
Oh, now you're just gonna we're gonna pin it just for it's only gonna pin for the next few hours because this show will go live up and get pinned up there tomorrow. So that tweet will get pinned for the next probably 12 hours, approximately.
So we'll give you guys a little lift on that.
The 1,000-ish people that are watching right now, that is your cue to go to our Twitter at That's a Winner Pod, and you want to interact with that specific tweet that's pinned up on our Twitter. You don't know what that logo is, and that's fine.
So what do we want? Do we want a reply, retweet,
interact,
like
it, retweet it, interact with it, comment on it? Depending on what you do, might give you more chances in the next couple weeks.
There you go.
Our next episode hopefully will be June 10th, which is Monday. Josh will not be around. I'll need some help that day. Hopefully Kyle is around that day as well. Let's talk briefly again about Breaking Tea. Breaking Tea has our own t-shirt right there. That's a Winner Podcast t-shirt at breakingtea.com/that's a winner pod. They also have the Mason Winn t-shirt up that they just put up there as well at breakingtea.com/that's a winner pod. Get nice. Any of the, it's a sexy little thing. And I hope that young man goes ahead and gets another, what's the record? 25. So he needs 7 more hits.
And he snags
so 10 more games. So we have 10 more games in this series. He can break it by the time the next off day. So we hope that keeps humming. Breakingtea.com/that's a winner pod. These shirts and more are available there. Again, if you're using our link, we get a little piece of that. We would appreciate that. That helps pay for the bills. If we get everything done with the one that I'm talking about, everything is paid for the year. And then some, hopefully, then gives us even more opportunities to give away more things. And if this one thing goes through like it's working on, then I'll have a lot of good things to give away for you to try out. But you just have to interact properly with the proper tweets that discussed. After this, I will tweet about the City Connect giveaway. 7 out of 10. 7 of the next 10. If the Cardinals win them, we will give away a City Connect jersey of your choice, of whatever's on the. I don't know. Is everyone available online?
Last I saw, it was Arenado, Goldschmidt, Nootbaar, Walker.
So whatever's available on
Gorman,
their website,
I believe,
you will have a choice of that. All right.
No custom ones.
No custom, just choice of whatever that is on there. All right. What do you got? Anything else?
That's it.
All right. See you to Josh. Josh is gone for the next month. He will not be around unless
back in the UK.
Unless the Cardinals are on a super heater, then he'll make time somehow. I have a feeling.
I mean, Monday we'll see.
Monday,
because I get in the day before that, so
your sleep schedule may not be.
Yeah, it's going to be like 2 a.m. for me. But we'll see where I'm at.
All right. That's Josh. I'm Ryan. This has been That's Winner Podcast. See ya.
Shooter from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss, and that's a winner. That's a winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. raises. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one, folks.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.